Assalamu alaikum. This is day 11, and we're going to turn to a subject that's very important called al-ikhlas. It means to be sincere. And if you hear what the Salaf had to say about this in page 48 of this book, is it a sin to not be sincere? In other words, to be a little bit of a hypocrite, and that your deeds are not done solely for Allah? Well, let's listen to the words of the Salaf. تحقيق لا إله إلا الله أمر في غاية الصعوبة، ولهذا قال بعض السلف: كل معصية فهي نوع من الشرك. Also, قال بعض السلف: ما جاهدت نفسي على شيء مجاهدتها على الإخلاص. Now, these Salaf were those who followed exactly what Prophet Muhammad wanted them to do. So they're not your average Muslims. So they're saying nothing was ever harder for me in my life to do than to be certain that I was being sincere. And they even said to be disobedient was a form of shirk. Now, still the ulama differ with this. However, when you think about it, shirk means associating partners in your worship. Tawheed means Allah is the only object of worship. So now, the author says, regarding ikhlas, لا يعرف هذا إلا المؤمن. أما غير المؤمن فلا يجاهد نفسه على إخلاص. Nobody's going to feel this struggle like a believer. And if you're not a strong believer, you're not going to bother with struggling to be sincere. I think I do agree with this. You know, this is the Salaf. And then after the days of the Salaf, you can say those who follow Prophet Muhammad and those after them and those after them, and then it ends. 3 generations. So this is when the fuqaha step in. You know, not just fuqaha, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad, you know, they when they started to categorize things into mustahab, haram, halal, mustahab, we have now time to eat because I literally have a half an hour until I have to stop eating. So stop thinking about food. There's no ikhlas right now. Haram, halal, mustahab, makruh, mubah. They came up with categories saying forbidden, prohibited, loved, hated, and allowed. This was after the Salaf. So you see, shall we be on the same amount of iman as these Salaf? Let's go to some more proofs. The shaitan لا يهدي ليخرج المهدوم ولكن يأتي لخرب المأمور. Shaitan doesn't care about those who are already destroyed. Al-Mahdum. He likes to come and destroy the good people. Al-ma'mur, that's true. You often hear it phrased as in, he's not going to go to the bar looking for victims. They're already gone. He's going to go to the masjid looking for victims so that he can destroy those who are on the straight path. When some people came complaining to the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, أن الرجل يجد في نفسه ما يستعزم أن يتكلم به. A good person is going to struggle on what is the greater thing to speak about. Isn't that so? ووجدتم ذلك قالوا نعم. نعم قال فذلك صريح الإيمان. Now this is in the Muslim, the collection by Muslim, that Prophet Muhammad replied, yes, that is true. And then the author says, أي, meaning, this means, أن ذلك هو العلامة البينة. This is a clear sign. على أن إيمانكم صريح. That your faith is true. لأنه ورد عليه, and it has been reported, ولا يرد إلا على قلب صحيح خالص. So this kind of sentiment doesn't occur except those who really have strong iman. Here, man shahada an la ilaha illallah. Now, this is called the shart and the jawab shart in grammar. This is why this book is so great. It's a conditional. It presents a condition, and then it answers what would be the answer to this condition. أدخله الله الجنة على ما كان من العمل. Now, we mentioned this previously in a lesson. You go to the paradise according to your deeds. وَالشَّهَادَةِ, what does it mean linguistically, to explain it simply? The shahada hiya al-i'tiraf bilisan. Number one, that you say it with your tongue. Wal-i'tiqad biqalb, that you feel it in your heart. Wat-tasdiq bil-jawarih. This is very important because you can say it with your tongue, you can feel it in your heart, but are you proving it with jawarih? Jawarih means parts of your body. Are you going forward to prove what you're saying? It has to be all three. And this is a very specific clarification. This is one of the things you learn when you first study Tawheed in the masjid in Cairo. This is serious. It's not just La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, and then you just smile and hug and then go back to being you. Yes, you have some faith, but it's not really strong enough. Now, وهذه جملة, this sentence, مؤكدة. It's a sure mu'akkid. It's nothing that you can argue about. بثلاث مؤكدات, three things. The shahada. إن ألام كذبهم الله بقوله. They made a lie about Allah when they said, والله يعلم إنك لرسول الله والله يشهد إن منافقين لكاذبون. This is in Surah Munafiqun, the Surah of the hypocrites. And it's saying these hypocrites are lying when they say, yes, you are Rasulullah, because they don't really believe it. They're just repeating something. فَلَمْ يَنْفَعَ هَذَا الْإِقْرَارِ بِلِسَانٍ. It's not going to do them any good on their tongues. لِأَنَّهُ خَالِ مِنَ الْإِتِّقَادِ بِقَلْبٍ. Because it's not really in their hearts. وَخَالُ مِنَ التَّصْدِيقِ بِالْعَمَلِ. And they're not going forward and doing something to prove what they say. فَلَمْ يَنْفَعَ. It's not going to help them. فلا تحقق الشهادة إلا بعقيدة من القلب واعتراف باللسان وتصديق بالعمل. Let's remember those three again. أي, in other words, لا معبود على وجه يستحق أن يعبد إلا الله. وهذا الأصنام التي تعبد لا تستحق العبادة. Your idols don't deserve your worshiping them. لأنه ليس فيها من خصائص الألوهية. Why are you worshiping the idols? When they don't have any of the descriptives of the description of uluhiyya, they don't deserve your worship. They can't help you. They can't hurt you. They can't change your circumstance. So why are you addicted? This is why the shuyukh say you shouldn't be watching televised sports matches. This is why they're so strict about this. Because the shabab, the young men, are addicted to this. Here in America, we have the MMA. Not only do we have a myriad of sports teams, baseball, football, soccer, hockey, wrestling, and now we even have mixed martial arts that are, they've taken over everything. And they've put forward a Muslim, Khabib Nurmagomedov, so that you won't feel so bad because he won and he's the champion of MMA wrestling. But does that make it really okay? I don't know. I don't like to get in men's affairs because I don't really understand them. What are our problems? Shopping? One of our idols? How many advertisements of lash extensions do I have to put up with when I'm trying to watch something beneficial? I don't want lash extensions. I don't want a new form of makeup. It's psycho because Satan knows your weak points. All the men want to be, well, not every single one, but the majority, they want to be tough. That's why they love to watch sports heroes. Because inside their hearts, they know they're not one. Just like women. Women are fascinated by fashion. Can you imagine in 2025, they still have Miss Universe pageants with the beautiful gowns and even the little tiara crown that they put on them at the end? It's total fantasy. Not going to help you. No, as a matter of fact, it's going to make you feel worse about yourself. I can never look like that. I don't have a sequined gown. Do you see what I mean about idols? They're not just statues. They're truly satanic. We should make another chapter just dealing with idols. There's so much here. I keep saying you should stop here because we're going too long into it. It's because I truly believe that if I read to you in the Arabic, you might not understand even half the words. But if you start to pick up some of the basics, some of the basic words that you could take out of these lessons, maybe in the descriptions, I'll put a few every now and then. This is how I learned it. Nobody taught me. I just read it. I kept saying it on my tongue, the pronunciation of the words. And I kept praying and asking Allah, help me. Nobody speaks to me in Fusha. I swear they don't want to, or they're forbidden to, or they're told not to, or they don't know. I should be kind. I love my friends in Egypt. And I always will. But they are muqayyad. Muqayyad means they're not free. So, it doesn't matter to Allah. You can live in a place with millions of people who are Muslim. And maybe my friends had good intentions. I'm sure they did. But these humans that think they control everything in the world are totally deficient. They're deficient. I'm going to close this lesson now because I have to. It's 16 minutes. You know, it's my favorite subject. You can tell, right? I mean, after Quran, once I get in Kitab Tawheed, there's no turning back. But I do want to give you this small vignette about words from my great Sheikh Fawzi Saeed from Egypt, Allah yarhamu. He once did a lesson, and he's like me. No, I'm like him. He likes to give little vignettes, so it will really stick. And he's very tough. When he says something, it's like a ton of bricks just fell on your head. Listen to this one. I don't have much time left before I can stop eating. So who knows, I could die. You know, I'm 77 years old. But I want to give you this one because it's incomparable Sheikh Fawzi. Not from Azhar. Sheikh Fawzi taught himself. He was an electrical engineer, and he just decided he was going to learn his religion. You can take any of the 38 volumes of the Fatawi Ibn Taymiyyah, and he's got it down. He's an amazing person. I hope he's in Jannat al-Firdaus. Listen to what he said. Oh, you, who are you? The G7? What do you call yourselves? You're sitting around your gigantic conference with all of your leaders, movers and shakers of the international scene, and you're deciding who's going to eat today, who's going to drink today, who will be able to obtain some form of security. Let us decide. And they're sitting there with all these flags on little sticks in front of each one. And suddenly, one of them is embarrassed and saying, excuse me, I'm sorry. Where is the bathroom? He could barely talk. And one of them said, oh, no problem. Go out the door and take a right to the end of the corridor. You'll find it. So the man bent over, runs out of the room, and flies into the bathroom and plops himself on the toilet. He's got some bad gas. Or something else. Ishal, they call it in Arabic. We say diarrhea in English. And then Sheikh Fawzi says, sit on your throne now. You totally deficient, weak human. So with that in mind, that little pictorial, which was prefaced by, I'll say it, why not? The Elon Musks of the world. You know, these people, billionaires. Shall we name them by their names? Yes, we shall. Facebook leader, Amazon leader. Is it? I don't even remember. I can't keep them straight. But someone called Jeff Bezos, and then the Facebook leader. I can't remember. You know, it's too close to. It's now. We have to stop eating at 7, so it's now, I think, 6:30. I have to go. But did you like that little vignette? I love it. I've been saying it ever since I first heard it. Please make dua for Sheikh Fawzi and his family, because he was one in a million. I don't think there'll ever be anyone like him in Egypt, because he was in prison 4 times and it doesn't bother him. Just won't stop. But then he had renal failure, and so he had to get the dialysis 3 times a week. And, that's only a matter of time. So he's now in a much better place. And I'm in a much better place because I'm a Muslim, and this is Ramadan. And we have made it now. This is going to be day 11. Oh my goodness, it's almost over. It's Tuesday. So it's going to be day 12. I don't know. Do we calculate from midnight, or do we calculate from Fajr? Ikhtilaf al-ulama, they differ about these things. But I like to say, in my world, it seems like the new day should start with the new dawn of Fajr. But then again, I've heard people say, no, it's midnight. So it's just so many things to think about, aren't there? Yeah, it's 21 minutes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.